Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Inman InStudio. I'm Lauren Walker. I am joined today by a pretty powerhouse panel, and we're going to talk about luxury marketing. We just wrapped on Luxury Connect in Las Vegas, so we thought this was a great opportunity to capture some thoughts and takeaways from some of our leaders in our space. So in order to maximize our time, I'm going to ask our folks here to introduce themselves. Stephanie, would you start us off?
Happy to. Yeah. Hi, I'm Stephanie Anton. I'm the SVP of Corcoran, our affiliate network. So as we're going through franchising, I'm leading that initiative.
Excellent. How about you, Marnie?
Hi, I'm Marnie Blanco, and I am the Vice President of Industry Relations for Pacaso, second home market company.
Great. West?
Hi, West Hubbard, VP of Biz Dev at Adwerx.
Very good. And last but not least, John?
John Krabbe, President of Agent Image.
Fantastic. Well, we have a great collection of folks here with expertise. And so I'm going to start us off with a question about shifts that you have seen, these pivots that agents are making in how they market themselves in luxury, as well as how that impacts how they market their listings. And so if you can share what you've seen from your perspective, either at the agent level or the brokerage level, that would be great. John, why don't we start with you? What have you seen?
I think a lot of what we're seeing, and at Inman Luxury Connect, there's even a lot of breakout panels in this. From a tech side, obviously how people present themselves to sellers has become much more digital over the obviously the pandemic, but even now, you don't see a lot of sellers wanting to flip through the typical 70-page listing presentations, things like that. People's attention spans are shorter, and they want to have stuff at their fingertips digitally more than they did before. So you're seeing still the in-person presentations and things of that sort, but you're seeing also a lot more shift to digital and to sort of the sellers wanting to see a lot more global reach for their properties, at least in the luxury space especially, and see what people are doing, to what agents are doing differently to market their properties and to get them throughout more of a network of agents and potential buyers, things of that sort. So that's a big shift that we've seen and that was brought up and talked about too as well.
Yeah, there were a lot of conversations around that. Hey, Wes, what are you seeing over there at Adwerx?
Yeah, well, I'm just going to be kind of backing up John a little bit on this one, but we saw not only a shift in what the sellers were expecting to a degree, but sometimes a little bit more of a shift in how difficult some of the sellers were. That was definitely something we saw and heard for some of our clients as people were sitting at home. They didn't have maybe as many other things going on. They knew that the market had shifted, but what had the agent done to change? What else was the agent bringing that they couldn't do or they could do before that they can't do now, or they can't get the same number of people to? I think we saw those shifts happening, and the agents that were willing to innovate, agents that were willing to maybe change what they had done in the luxury market for 10, 15 years to amazing success. I think we saw those agents really thrive. And that's not to say other agents didn't do well in this past market, but it got really competitive. Those listings got really competitive, and the people that were really able to stand out with the sellers changing expectations really were able to exceed and excel in this market.
Absolutely.
That makes a lot of sense. Marnie, what's happening over there at Pacaso? What are you seeing?
Yeah, so obviously at Pacaso, we focus more on the second home markets. And so the shifts, they were huge, obviously, with the pandemic. It brought upwards of a 187% increase in sales of just second home markets. And that was obviously from, a shift of the pandemic itself, but also creating this, new, almost maybe permanent work from home type of situation. And so everybody wants out of their home and they want to be in something new and different. And so, what we have seen at Pacaso is a lot of our homes sell up to about 40% of them sell sight unseen. And so when you're talking about a marketing shift, that changes things pretty dramatically. As John was saying, the digital aspect is huge. The virtual aspect is huge. When you don't have necessarily people walking through and getting all the feels themselves, you've got to present it and create it yourself.
That makes a lot of sense. How about at Corcoran, Stephanie? What have you observed?
Sure. I mean, obviously, we're all embracing a lot more digital, and I always laugh that we saw as much innovation in 3 months as we took 3 years to get before. So, Wes, to your
Absolutely.
point, everyone had no choice, but we embraced. And it's a good point you make, John, about the digital, because we have a digital listing presentation, and literally no one even asks for like the old, big boxes and presentations we used to do. So that's totally shifted. But I think the biggest shift, in my opinion, is we've shifted from having to market homes and generate interest to managing multiple offers. And so I'm seeing more people generating interest to a direct list and building their sphere, and then marketing to that sphere, doing that before the listing comes on the market, because once it hits the market, things get so aggressive so quickly. And so making sure all their ducks in a row before they actually list the home. And then the last thing I'd say is, I think people are spending more money on fewer things. So focusing on the things that really matter. And it's things like professional photography, and it's things like, direct mail, and making sure that the word gets out that a home is hitting the market. And it doesn't mean that they're spending less money marketing the property, but they're making sure they're quality over quantity.
I love that quality over quantity. That's really striking to me.
Yeah, and what you touched on is so true, because Laura and I talked about this before too, but that's why we developed Access. There was no digital listing presentation platform out there, and that's really where this is headed. I think if you look at the future of real estate, and especially the luxury market globally, there has to be some way to get in front of people and get video out there and get your personality and your brand and the feel for who you are across a screen more and more, and that agent's brand more and more powerfully presented. So that's where I think this shift is going to very much head over the next few years. And I think all of us in the space see it coming too. And that's in every aspect, from the properties to the listing presentations to everything. It's definitely where it's headed.
And making
I think you're going to hear from all of us video. Yeah, I think video is going to be a pretty common. There wasn't video before, but to Marnie's point on sight unseen, like you used to be able to get away with a nice little 30-second marketing video that maybe didn't touch on the finer points of the home. And like now you really need to embrace video and still keep it short, but also have it hit on and really having someone being able to want to buy the home based on it. Not just,
and it has to be easy for agents that aren't comfortable with technology, right? So we have a listing presentation tool that's digital that we built in-house, and the agents can text it to their clients. And it's just a totally different way of communicating with people and trying to, lay something out for a phone. Like, John, you get it, right? Versus like big pieces that used to have printed. It's a totally different way of communicating.
And it's got to be friendly on every single platform, right? Because you don't know what they're on, and it has to be friendly on Android, iPhone, whatever it is, on the smallest media possible. They have to be able to get that feel and that touch. And to your point with video, we were talking about this on the last interview we did. People have to get comfortable in front of cameras. Nobody had to do that before. A lot of times it would be a staged video people would put together with a bunch of production or with their assistant and stuff. A lot of these are going to be shot on the fly, and being comfortable and affable and personable in front of somebody, just candidly shooting video, shooting short clips, things like that. You've got to be more and more adaptable to that and evolve with it. So yeah, I think that's a huge piece.
And I would even add, not even just shooting the clips, but also just being live. So a lot of what we do is our salespeople walk through the homes, and they're doing a live virtual tour, and they're just going because they want to see all the ins and outs. They want to see the closets. They want to see how things function. And so you just have to be ready to go on the fly and show them in real life as much as you can. And hope that nobody else is around, and they can duck behind the couch as they're starting to walk through a room.
even if they are, like, now, I mean, and that goes to your second question, Lauren, about how agents are marketing themselves. Like, I keep joking that the term authenticity is to 2021 what unprecedented was to 2020. And I mean, you've heard the word so many times, but that's the truth. Like, if your dog barks now because of Zoom and this environment, we're also much more comfortable with it. But also, I think clients are tuned into that. So agents have to be themselves, because there's the BS factor. It doesn't work anymore because we're so more intimate with our clients, and technology has just made this so easy. And so it really is just something that I think people to really look inside themselves and say, who am I and who am I not? And what is my personal brand, and kind of who am I connected to? And what is the halo effect of the company I'm with? And what does that mean? Because all of that, I think, matters more than it ever did.
Yeah, it really offers a level of relatability. And just a candid look into people's lives. And I think people are really attracted to that and drawn to that. And that's where I 1000% agree with you on that. It's very, very true. It's okay for it not to be, polished and perfect. It's people gravitate more towards that, actually, it not being that, I think, than anything.
Because anyone watching, I really just say embrace that. You're hearing it from all of us, but I think there's definitely, especially in the luxury market, it's more easy to stagnate because it's established agents that have done it for a long time. But the reality is, put your personal brand out there, put your authenticity out there, put yourself on video. I can tell you, if all four of us are saying this, and I've certainly been seeing it, those are the agents that are succeeding today, and they're probably going to succeed tomorrow. And it's scary and it's risky, and it feels like, oh my gosh, I don't want to film in my living room. I don't want to. It's not organized behind me. But that's the world we live in today, and that's the world your sellers most likely live in as well. And they're going to get that authentic bond.
It's great.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Hey, Wes, let's stay with that topic. I want to do a little more future casting with you guys, because you're starting to talk about, like, okay, we adapted from the new normal to the next new normal, and then the next new normal. And so here we are wrapping up 2021. What does 2022 look like when it comes to luxury real estate? You're already kind of going there with embrace more authenticity. What else do you want to see, or do you think we'll see in luxury?
Sure. I think that for better or for worse, we're going to see more of the same. I think if we had this a year ago, some of us might have said things were going to go back. I probably would have been one of those. I would have been wrong, to be clear. But I think that, there are companies that are shifting to, we're going back to the office. Like, that's happened. And I think for most of us, I am in the office right now, but for most of us, it's not the case. And that's true for a lot of sellers and clients, and people are, especially on the higher end market, many of them are realizing that and only now deciding to make those changes of where they want to live in their lives. Just got off the phone from a business owner who's decided they're permanently staying in Colorado and now looking for a home. So I think that, again, that's where some of my comment from embrace this new change that's coming, because it will be here. I think obviously there are some external factors that we could see in 2022. I think most people, most economists I trust, there's nothing seismic coming on that, we hope. And in that vein, I think that's where, what we are seeing today, I think we will see a continuation of, especially in this market in 2022. Yes, I think some of the lower end might cool a little, but again, that's cooling to still a very, very hot place. So that would be my 2 cents on what we're going to see coming here.
Lauren, can I just make a comment too? I think, Wes, I totally agree with you. I think the one difference as we go into this next year is I think our industry is exhausted. Look at past, we always had like ups and downs in the market. And I think it's still going to be a hot market. I agree with you. There's a lot of things that are crazy. And so I think the best agents that I know, what they're doing differently is really they focus on service as a differentiator. And I think empathy is a big part of that too. And that's maybe like a different conversation, but I think, being able to articulate and show empathy because of clients that are really exhausted too in this market. And so you're sort of walking into this world where everyone's really tired. And so I sort of think about what is it that's the difference between a good agent and a great agent, particularly in this environment today. And I think it's service. I think it's this sort of special combination of emotional intelligence, hard work, because this isn't easy. It's not going to be easy. Being a great communicator, being a great problem solver, and then obviously being a great marketer. And that's a hard combination. So the ones that are, I think, doing a really good job of that too are figuring out what they're not on that list, and then they get help with it. So all we're seeing with teams and people growing with teams creatively, I think that's only going to grow too.
Fantastic. Marnie, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'd love to piggyback off of that, especially in our Pacaso world, when you're talking about second home ownership. And for those who are not familiar with Pacaso, we take a home, luxury high-end homes, and then we create up to 8 owners per home. So we have co-ownership in these luxury homes. And the reason why it is working so well is because people don't want to manage these homes. And so they want to find these wonderful homes, and then they want them just to be turnkey and taken care of. So I couldn't agree more with what Stephanie said. Is services marketing right now to the nth degree, and especially in our heightened world. I don't think we'll see the seismic shift of, triple digit 187% increase in second home sales for 2022. But even still in the top, 49 of 50 markets, there's still double digit growth going on. And so I think that will continue. And that service element, especially in the second home markets, is going to be key. And those professionals who can deliver is going to be the ones who win.
Lauren, if I can jump in before John, super quick, I wanted to piggyback on that, because I think what I felt, I think what a lot of agents have felt at Stephanie's point, is that their time has become even more valuable. Your clients probably feel the exact same way. So what you can do to help give them more time and give them that service, how you are feeling today of, oh my gosh, well, they're probably feeling the same way.
I love that.
It's interesting too, and I agree with everything everyone here has said. Again, the pandemic, we talked about this before, it just sped up where technology was headed anyways. Everything was moving digitally, towards this landscape quickly. It just solidified it and sped it up. And what I took that I thought was interesting at Luxury Connect, actually, when I listened to different panels, there's a common theme that I heard, and I'm seeing this more and more. I actually had an agent asking me an opinion on different teams here in LA the other day. You're seeing more agents, even agents have been in the business 10, 20 years, teaming up with brands within a brand. And it may be, it's everything from a brokerage like Corcoran or Element, whoever is out there, but you're also seeing it within teams and successful teams in these luxury markets, getting behind those brands and sort of teaming up. And that was the general theme. If you ever listen to a lot of the breakout sessions, even the main stage sessions, there were a lot of people talking about, join a team, look at how you can sort of partner up with names who have established brands and people who are producing at a high clip in the market and have, the advantageous side of larger marketing budgets and being able to get that global reach, again, that we've sort of talked about, that these buyers are all over the world now. That's one thing the pandemic did. People are, traveling a lot. They're in different locations. They want homes in different areas. Pacaso, I think, is doing a great job of that too, with the fractional ownership model and doing that as well. There's so much out there that for the agents, because we think a lot of the top producing agents, when we think about doing these conversations at times, there's a lot of agents in the luxury market who are either just breaking in or have been in the market maybe 5, 10, 15 years, that this is a way for them to get even greater traction, I think, in some ways, is to sort of team up and leverage that brand, and often brand within a brand, if you will, of these different power agents and brokerages. So that's one thing I took away from it. I thought was really interesting, because I saw a lot more discussion on that this year than in past years.
I agree. Yep.
Fantastic. So we've got, everyone's exhausted, which I feel. We've got, bring the service, elevate the service, emotional intelligence, and brand within a brand. I think these takeaways are fantastic. Thank you all so much for sharing your time and your expertise with us today. I really appreciate it.
It was fun. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Lauren.
Fun.
Thanks, everyone.
Great seeing you guys.
All right, everybody. Take care.